The Apple's YouTube channel, run by operator and widower Kyle Appleford, facing significant criticism over the last couple of weeks and even the last few months surrounding a change in direction from his deceased wife, Jenny Appleford. Her cancer journey legacy page completely transformed into a home for his new relationship and new life. Lots of drama from that. Today, I'm breaking down the top lessons that I've learned, and you won't want to miss the last one because it's going to completely change the way you look at this situation. How many lessons will you have identified as those you've also learned? Find out today as we count down the top 8 lessons learned from the Appleford channel YouTube. Before we get started with today's video, of course, I do want to say that the opinions reflected in this video are mine and they don't represent anyone else's opinions. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 8, protecting your digital presence for the future is so critical. And sadly, for many people, this is an often overlooked part of being a creator. And for some channels, like the Jenny Apple channel, currently renamed to the Apples, this is not just for sentimental value. No, this is for much more than that. It's about protecting a business. And make no mistake, the channel is definitely a business. It's a money-making business, objectively. It's about protecting an intellectual catalog, and it's about protecting a community. Now, the importance of digital legacy planning for creators normally falls into 4 categories. First is financial continuity and royalties. For many creators, a channel is a revenue-generating asset that doesn't stop earning just when they stop. The second is guarding your reputation. In the world of AI and deepfakes, an unprotected channel is subject to exploitation. Number 3, ethical and community management. Creators often will have what is called a parasocial or very deep connection with their audience, and vice versa. A final goodbye message or a transition plan to a memorialized page is very helpful for people that have been deeply invested in a story. And this really helps prevent the spread of misinformation or even misuse when you're gone from your channel. And the fourth is legal access and administrative fees. Many creators have thousands of hours of video in a cloud, and this prevents those from being deleted due to a decision on purpose to delete them or due to inactivity. So going back to the Apple's channel, it would have been a tremendous thing had Jenny had set a legal document in place explaining exactly how she would have wanted her page to be utilized. Now, we know that what was most important to her was that her channel be a kind of a living legacy, a video diary of sorts for her children to look back upon her courageous cancer battle and how she fought so hard to be alive and to be with them. And so if she would have set a legal precedent for that, I expect that that's how her page would have remained. Number 7, it is not a good idea to have a new fiance on a digital legacy page of a wife who passed away from cancer. I mean, to be honest with you, you would think that this would go without saying. It's not fair for a person, a wife, a mother who passed away from cancer, to have a new woman come into the place that she built with her suffering and her hope for a future, to have a new woman, a new fiance come in and essentially take over the the page and make it something completely new. Um, and so you wouldn't go, for example, to if Jenny had a physical memorial, if she had a graveside, you wouldn't expect Kyle or to go to her new graveside with his new fiance and to kind of set up a a picture of their uh, new engagement, and then to show little highlight reels from their new life on some kind of electronic media right next to her gravesite. I mean, that would be absolutely absurd, right? But that's what we're kind of seeing here, is that all of the focus on Jenny's cancer journey is now being buried underneath video after video of descriptions or videos, etc., of this new life and new relationship. And it does genuinely feel, to me, at least in my opinion, to be very disrespectful, both to Jenny as well as to the new fiance. I think that those pages should be completely separate. I think that there should be no intermixing of those two lives. And I think that the fiance deserves to have a space of her own where she isn't constantly being compared or being subject to Jenny's community. And that just, I mean, this seems like a very black and white issue. And so that was a big lesson learned. And this issue really has been the heart of most complaints on the channel. Separate the channels, separate your lives, keep it clean, and stop making it all intermix. Because this is not a way to honor Jenny, nor is it a way to respect the fiance. It's just messy and unnecessary. Number 6. The audience will absolutely leave. Okay? So, this is a situation. There's been so much criticism in the comments related to so many different aspects of this channel. Everything from putting the new fiance on the channel to the use of the GoFundMe monies to general the way that the channel is used or perceived to be used for money. The relationship between the kids and Jenny's family. There's a lot of things that a lot of viewers have not been happy with, and they have absolutely used the comment section, as they should, to voice their objections and their concerns and their wishes. Now, many of them have left. As I reported in one of my most recent videos, 1,000 followers left in March. And there's been more that have left since then. And so the lesson to be learned here for creators is, look, you have to understand that when you put out videos, it's for your audience. If they don't like you, they're not going to watch you. They're not going to interact with you. They're not going to leave comments, or at least favorable ones. And they're going to take a hike. They're going to leave. And so you need to be able to read the room and to see how folks are feeling and be responsive to your community that you're trying to build. And that is something we have not seen in the Apples case. We've not seen that. And yeah, and that's, I in my opinion, I think that's continuing to hurt the channel, and it's continuing to not benefit the channel in any way, shape, or form. Number 5, going through a grieving journey and starting a new relationship are very messy and very complicated. And they don't have a single trajectory. And it is very stressful. And I have gone through my own grief journey of my own life. And I've also started a new relationship in my own life, and I am familiar with that. Not to say that my experience was anything like Kyle's. Most people's experiences are not like one another's, but I did my grief journey offline. I was not online, and I was not in front of thousands of viewers, and that is very stressful, and it completely affects the way you feel to get that constant feedback and to have to do that before an audience. I mean, look, it's a choice. It's a choice every time Kyle decides to portray and has decided to portray anything about his grief journey. He's had to record, he's edited, he's had to write a title, he's had to do a thumbnail, he's had to write a page description. Those are all independent choices that have been part of his grief journey. No one is forcing him to go on. And I kind of laugh when I see comments, whether it be on his own page or my page channel, where people are like, mind your own business. Like, what are you talking about? Like, dude actually puts out videos bringing you into his life, bringing you into his grief, crying, all kind of snot, everything. What are you talking about? Mind your own business. Like, he wants you to watch. He wants engagement because then he gets paid. I mean, common sense. Like I said, it's a business. So, it's irrelevant. The very nature, okay, of making a video and posting it, no matter what the subject is engagement. That's the wanted thing from it. And so, when you're doing that during an intense grieving period and then starting a new life, it's just you're subjecting yourself to so much unnecessary criticism and, speculation and accusations and everything else that may go along with it, depending on how you do it and depending on how people see your journey and depending on a lot of factors. But it is something absolutely that he is choosing to do. It is a choice. But there are consequences, unfortunately, to the choices, and sometimes that can mean a lot more unnecessary stress. The fourth lesson learned from this, looking over this channel and everything that the channel has been going through the last couple months, is that it is not easy, apparently, to be someone in the public eye, whether you want to call them a creator, an influencer, a public figure, but to be in that public spotlight and then also try to live a normal private life. And of course, the bigger audience you have, that more of a problematic thing. And what you got going on in your life obviously impacts that as well. But, these are private people. They have their own families. Many of them have jobs still. They have interests and hobbies and all kind of relationships and everything. And it is sometimes difficult to maintain that privacy when your life is online. And especially it seems, this case and others, that is problematic when you have hurt people or offended them or upset them, and that pattern kind of continues. And so we see that even with celebrities. I mean, people really become unhinged, and there have been quite the number of unhinged comments over this channel and the direction that it's taken and the lack of response and just many other things. There's been, it's a strange time that we're living in. The world has become such a dark place, and I think you see that oftentimes reflected in the comments. And so you'll see that hatred and you'll see that the personal attacks and all the things. And I don't believe in that. I believe that you can have constructive criticism, you can have intelligent conversations, you don't have to belittle people, you don't have to go after them. If you want your argument heard, it's often more powerful if you just debate the issues without going into all those things that at the end of the day, are painful and they don't help you. to be talking about people in that way. So, but it is complicated to be in the public spotlight and try to live your life, as a private citizen. Number 3, no one likes shadiness. Okay? No one likes to watch a creator who you question the truthfulness of. That's like a general statement. Like if I'm invested, or even giving just a little bit of time to creators' videos, if I feel like they're coming across as inauthentic or even worse as, purposely hiding things or not being very transparent, that's not going to sit well with me as a viewer. And why would I want to watch someone who I don't really trust and who I have to question things about? Because it kind of makes me think that, they're not presenting the reality of their life or circumstances or whatever it may be that they're discussing. And that changes everything. And so transparency is key. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that you put all of your information outline for people to dissect. That would be madness. You maintain a level, though, of integrity by which people are not feeling like you're purposely hiding something or multiple things from them and making them feel um, uncomfortable. And I'm not specifically talking about Kyle here, I'm talking more generally, because there's been a lot of creators where folks feel like, there's just something that's not adding up. And that's definitely something that people don't feel comfortable watching. Lesson number 2. The stakes are so much higher when you're a single parent. Now, I know this from personal experience. I was a single parent of my child for several years, most of his childhood. And as a single parent, nothing is more important to you than your child or children's well-being. And what that means is that there might be things that you want to pursue. There might be a relationship, there might be a job, there might be an activity, there might be a hobby, any number of things that you might want to pursue because it feels right or it would add value to your life or you just enjoy them. If they're not in your children's best interest, you can't pursue those. It's just a very simple yes or no type of situation. Is this job, me taking this job, going to be a good thing for my child? Nope. All right. Then I'm not taking this, or if you can't make it work without a detriment to your child, without them going through pain or without them suffering, then you have to look at those things and say, look, as much as I might want to pursue them, they're just not going to work for my children or for my family. And you have to be in a position where you put yourself behind them. And, it's being a parent is very self-sacrificial. You have to sacrifice much, you have to give much, and that's the joy of parenthood. It doesn't always feel like joy, but at the end of the day, when you lay your head down, you've been a good parent. You've made great or the best decisions with what you had at the time. And yeah, a lot of times you have to forgive yourself. No one is perfect. We all make mistakes, but there's course corrections, and that's what's so great about life. But we don't want to allow our children to suffer or to be hurt by our decisions. And in this case with the Apple channel, a lot of viewers are concerned that, especially as it relates to moving the children from the current home in California to a new state away from Jenny's family, would be naturally not in their best interest and hurtful to them and to Jenny's family, as they're their only connection back to Jenny that's still living. And so there's a lot at stake for the children, As I mentioned in my most recent video, them having to move would mean them leaving their friends, and we know how important childhood friends are, and leaving their schools behind and their home and their places of comfort and their community. And that's hard. And, maybe moving your children maybe really just isn't in the best interest for them. And as much as you might want in this relationship, maybe it just can't happen because it doesn't benefit your children and you have to sacrifice. And so being a single parent, even more than being a two-parent household, you really have to ensure that every decision, as much as is possible, is alignment with the emotional, mental, physical well-being of your children. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that you put all of your information outline for people to dissect. That would be madness. You maintain a level, though, of integrity by which people are not feeling like you're purposely hiding something or multiple things from them and making them feel uncomfortable. And I'm not specifically talking about Kyle here. I'm talking more generally, because there's been a lot of creators where folks feel like, there's just something that's not adding up. And that's definitely something that people don't feel comfortable watching. Now, the moment you've been waiting for, the number one thing that I have learned by watching the Apple channel and the drama associated with it over the last couple months. This one is going to change how you look at the channel. So number one, community expectations and accountability. You cannot expect for the very people who pay your rent, to not have a stake in the house rules. Okay, now that's an analogy, but the point is, your viewers are going to have an expectation for your channel, for how it's handled, for how it changes, for its purpose, for how you respond or don't respond. And when you ignore those, and when you don't take those to heart, and when you are not responsive to community needs, there will be 100% backlash. Now, you can expect that in the form of negative comments. You can expect that in the form of less interactions and less engagement online. You can expect that in the form of less financial support if you're used to getting monetary gifts on your channel. You can expect that in the form of less watch hours and in the form of less subscribers. And as we know, the Apple's channel has faced scrutiny, which has really heightened over the past couple weeks, as well as viewers going down. And engagement, I would guess, has gone down as well. And so what you do absolutely matters to the community that you've built. You've got to have enough respect for them to listen to what they're saying, take it into account, and at least acknowledge their concerns. Like, at least say, hey, I hear you. I'm reading the comments. I know what you're saying. I get it, but I'm going to take this direction. At least have the decency to acknowledge the concerns or questions that folks who have invested countless hours and tears and financial resources to you to support you. And my personal opinion, you owe them that at the very least. It's not a situation where, you have all this tremendous support poured at you and then you just decide to, screw everyone and how they feel. And I'm not saying that he looks at his community in that way, but he certainly hasn't seemed to want to respond to comments, because we never see responses, or to concerns because we never see we never see acknowledgement of what's been happening in the community. It's almost like, this community online has been on fire, and he kind of just turned his head to that and away from that. And I don't think it's been a positive thing for the page, to say the least. And so those are the lessons that I have personally learned. Nothing in this video should be taken to be the opinion of anyone else except for my own as a viewer and longtime channel supporter. And yeah, so I just want to say thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate your comments and suggestions. And if you're interested in my videos and the way I cover things, please do subscribe. I have some very interesting stuff coming forward. And as always, thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging with me. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. So without further ado, let's get started.